Yeah, I was very surprised at your Lithuanian language level. It was actually very high.
The language, it's easy actually. Many people say Lithuanian is difficult. I don't say Lithuanian is difficult.
If a person like me decides to learn Arabic,
For the vocabulary, I think it should be easy in the beginning, but the challenging thing would be grammar.
why is there so much tension and conflict between Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims?
Personally, I'm blaming the rise of fundamentalism. In Morocco, I would say it started rising by the early 2000s. Because before, I remember a time where I see women without a veil at all. But now, half of the girls, approximately, they are doing veil, and this, for me, it's alarming.
Good morning, Zakaria.
Good morning, Paulus.
Thanks for joining in today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to join your podcast.
So, Zakaria, where are you now? Where are you residing at the moment?
Yeah, I live in Vilnius, Lithuanian capital. I live here since previous October. No, sorry, since October 2021. But I've been living in Lithuania since September 2013. I've been earlier living in Kaunas, then had a break, went a bit to Morocco, and then I back to Vilnius.
Oh, wow. Since 2013, that's almost 10
Yes,
years now.
I actually celebrated my 10th anniversary with some friends. It was very nice. It was worth it to celebrate.
Wow, that's fantastic. And
Thank you.
if you don't mind me asking,
Sure,
what brought you to Lithuania?
sure. Well, before coming to Lithuania, I studied in UK, in London, but didn't like it because mostly because people were unfriendly. It was impossible for me to make friends over there. But still, at that time, I had interest toward Eastern Europe. So I start feeling attraction toward the culture, toward the lifestyle, and so on. So when I felt uncomfortable living in London, first thing I decided to look somewhere in Eastern Europe, Poland, Czech Republic, Lithuania, Hungary, and so on. So I start doing my own research and so on. And to be also fair with you, when I start getting fed up with the UK, it seems a voice in my head told me to choose Lithuania. But of course, I wanted to uh, check other countries as well, to give them chance and make a final decision. At the end, to be fair, it was mostly the program who attracted me. And from another side, I was thinking because I had contact with Lithuanian language like 4 or 5 years prior coming to Lithuania,
Hmm.
and I said this language is so beautiful. I should learn it at some point in my life. And at the end, after searching for a suitable program, the Bachelor of International Politics in at Vytautas Magnus University was interesting to me. So I applied, everything went fine, and then I come. And of course, since my first, I give Lithuania 3 months, as I give to any country, to see if I'm going to integrate or not. And within these 3 months, I made friends. I felt happy. How to say, I started recovering myself and so on. So I said, this is the right choice for me. And since then, I'm there.
Wow, fantastic.
Thank
And
you.
you have mentioned that you also had some contact with the Lithuanian language prior to coming to Lithuania.
Mhm.
So, was it because you met some Lithuanians in the UK, or was it in some other way?
I never actually met Lithuanians in UK, unfortunately. At that time in UK, like I mentioned, I had a bad experience. Like no one wanted to be my friend. So and I noticed that people stay with communities. That was the
Mhm.
case. However, for me personally, because I'm more interested into languages in general, so I call myself amateur linguist. So I was looking how languages look like. I was reading text just to see how beautiful it is, and so on. And at that time, unfortunately, I couldn't find the records. But now there is more sophisticated channels that show even ancient languages how they sound, and I
Mhm.
always listen to such programs. And actually, during that time, I realized which kind of languages I like. So, and in general, I like Slavic family, Baltic family, and also Uralic family, and Turkic one, as well as Roman one, like Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian.
Right, because that episode is not yet released, but
Mm-hmm,
last week we recorded a Lithuanian language challenge with you and also another guest, Kotaro.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was very surprised at your Lithuanian language level. It was actually very high.
Thank you.
So not
Well,
many people are able to reach that level, even in a long period of time of study. So, and also, have you studied any other languages from the region, or what are some other languages that you know besides Lithuanian and, of course, English?
before I answer this question, I will answer the first part. In fact, my level could be better, but just there are two problems. I'm not blaming the language. The language, it's easy actually. Many people say Lithuanian is difficult. I don't say Lithuanian is difficult, uh, and you will know why later on. And there is how to say it, my problem. I was so lazy. Honestly, I didn't put effort outside of the classes that I had at university. That was first. Second, well, many foreigners will disagree with me, but for me, unfortunately, many Lithuanians speak in English. Why? Because if, for example, let's say I was in Czech Republic, for example, which I was on Erasmus for some time there. There, people don't speak in English, so this would force me to learn Czech language. But here, when I see everyone speaking in English, somehow the learning process is delayed and delayed and delayed until 10 years has passed, and then I wake up and I said to myself, I'm still stuck in A2, B1, around that level. So, and I said, oh, I have to put efforts. Back to the second part of your question. So natively, I speak Arabic. I speak both Arabics, like Moroccan Arabic and the standard one. French is almost my native language, but I don't call it native because I don't use it at home. We use, of course, Moroccan Arabic. But still, I learned French since I opened my eyes. And English later on in my life, I would say I started learning it in grade one, but well, 30 minutes every 2 weeks. But really, I started learning it since my sixth grade, and since I was 11 at that time, yeah. And then many years passed. I learned Lithuanian, and then I learned Russian as well. But my Russian level is still basic, so I couldn't do the same interview that we did last time in Russian language. So it's really basic, and the same problem. Unfortunately, I was lazy at the university. I didn't put much effort, and now I really regret it. So after I improve my Lithuanian very well, I would like to move with the Russian and the Polish as well. Polish interests me because Poland is close to us, and I visit Warsaw most of the time. And also, I like Polish culture as well. And also, in my opinion, I should learn the state language, which is Lithuanian, since I live here, as well as the two major minority languages, which are Russian and Polish.
Actually, I had the same idea of learning Polish in the future because, well, my Russian level is also around B1. It's not
Hmm.
the best. And also, I empathize with you when you say that when everyone speaks around English, it doesn't motivate you much because I live in an island of Madeira where people also speak English, most of them. And of course, I have some chances to practice my Portuguese here, so I try to use it as much as possible. But oftentimes, when I go and speak in Portuguese with local people, whether it's in a at the doctor's office or in a cafe or whatever, most of the time they out of politeness try to respond to me in English because they think it's going to be more comfortable for me. So we end up speaking like I speak in Portuguese and they speak in English. And if I run out of words, we start speaking in English. So
Wow.
I understand the struggle here that you have mentioned. But yeah, it's I really respect your decision to learn the local language of the place where you're at. I have the same idea regarding Portugal as well. It's very respectful, and also it helps you to integrate much better
Exactly.
than not speaking the local language. And actually, you really caught my attention when you said that, just like when Kotaro said that Japanese is easy, and when you said Lithuanian is easy to learn, I really want you to elaborate a little bit more, because it might help many language learners to actually kind of, because for many people that I teach as well, they feel like there's a really big like barrier, like, and a real big barrier to enter the language. And when they enter the language, it starts getting even harder for them. So maybe this is a misconception, and maybe we can avoid that.
Exactly. Yeah, I forgot to mention it earlier. So, as you can see, first, my background, Lithuanian language is no way close to the languages that I learned prior my 18. So, French or English or Arabic are not close in any way to Lithuanian language. All right. So, first thing I would say, when someone would like to learn an exotic language, uh, this person should take in consideration that first vocabulary is totally different. That's the
Yeah.
first approach. Because many people, the moment they see the vocabulary is not Latin, I would use this term because that's what most people are expecting. So when they say the vocabulary is not Latin, they said, "Oh, it's difficult." That's what many people are doing. Okay, for me personally, I compare Lithuanian to English and French. Well, Arabic is way difficult to be compared to. So, for example, in French, believe me, I was suffering learning conjugation of verbs because French language have a lot of irregularities. Then also,
Oh yeah,
yes, a lot. Well, you are learning Portuguese, you may understand what I mean. Subjunctive and those conditionnel and oh my god, like really a lot. And even an ending of one verb doesn't guarantee that all verbs that have this ending will be conjugated the same way. On the other hand, Lithuanian, no. Like, okay, let's take an example. For example, the verbs that their third person in present end with o. Like for example, valgeti. So yes, he valgo. He she eats. So the verb valgo can any verb that his third person in present finish with o will be conjugated as valgo. Like for now, I don't have some example in mind.
that's true.
Yeah, getting lost. But for example, yeah, the same with those that finish with e, the same that the one would finish with a. So I need basically to learn just the conjugation of general one, and that's it. And I can link it like that. That's when it comes to conjugation. Now, many people are intimidated, especially people who are not coming from, I don't know how to describe this region, but because usually cases exist mostly in Europe, some parts of Europe, and some parts of Central Asia, Caucasus, and so on. So other parts of the world lake cases. So you cannot, for example, explain to someone coming from Latin America or from Sub-Saharan Africa cases. It will take too much time to this person to understand.
For sure.
Yeah. So, but look how it is. When I start looking to cases, it seems some of them replace some prepositions. So, for example, let's say in English, wait, I'm I'm trying to find a sentence
Hmm.
that would be easier for me as well to translate. Okay, very easy. I study at the university or I study in the university. So this at in can be replaced by an ending. That's the case in Lithuanian. Aš studijuoju universitete. So universitetas is
Hmm.
the one in nominative. So in locative, instead of using in or at, you use a, use replace us by a. And also, any word in Lithuanian that finish with us in its locative will be a. No way some word will have us or us or something else. So that means that Lithuanian grammar is very regular, which make it easy. Another thing that many people forget: how many people do spelling mistakes until now in English or
Hmm.
in French? In Lithuanian, spelling mistakes cannot happen because Lithuanian language is regular. So the way how you write the word is the way how you pronounce it. So
That is true.
that's why I find the Lithuanian easier. However, so far, I think maybe because I'm a little bit didn't study perfectly this part. So the moment I will do it, maybe I will have different opinion. So my challenging part right now is those how is it called? Prefixes before the verb. Some of them
Hmm.
I could understand them easily, but some
Hmm.
like pa, I don't know actually the right meaning. So sometimes I'm using it just to show that I know it. So that's the
Ah.
part that is a little bit challenging. But honestly, I didn't study it perfectly like I did to other parts of grammar. So later on, hopefully by the next semester, which I'm planning to repeat my A2. So by the next semester, I will try to emphasize on it.
Honestly, I do also have problem with the Russian prefixes, although Lithuanian language also has, like, let's say, take the word ėjo, so like
Hmm.
went, or
Hmm.
so we can say atėjo, išėjo, nuėjo,
Hmm.
perėjo. Some forms that we use, although they are not grammatically correct, is the ėjo,
Hmm.
but it's not. It's seen as incorrect to use this prefix the. But yeah, we have a lot of and it kind of codes the information inside the prefix to say, well, did the person come or the person gone out?
Hmm.
Did he went through or did he did something else? So it's actually very useful, but yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle because again I can empathize because I'm learning another language with prefixes, and I also struggle even though my native language has it. So, well, anyways, and when we come, let's say we had a little bit of comparison with, let's say, French and
Hmm.
English. When we take a language that is Semitic, so it's
Arabic.
in a different
Yeah.
language family
Hmm.
altogether, right? It's not Indo-European, and it's not Finno-Ugric.
Hmm.
It's we can say another language world altogether. So different alphabets, everything is different in Arabic. So if a person like me, like a Lithuanian or any other person from Europe, let's say, decides to learn Arabic, uh, what might the person encounter? Would the process be difficult? Or actually, it's not as hard as it looks because, a new alphabet, new vocabulary, everything's new. It looks a little bit intimidating in the beginning. But is it really?
To be honest with you, alphabet is not difficult. Like, of course, I understand someone coming from Europe. This person writes from left to right. Yeah.
Mhm.
This person know capital and no, not in English we say upper and lower cases. So that's
Mhm.
how the alphabet look. Whether this person is Lithuanian who use Latin, Russian who use Cyrillic, or Greek who use Greek alphabet. But when you start learning Arabic, it's different because you learn from the right to the left. That's first. That's
Mhm.
the first idea that sounds strange. Plus, also Arabic doesn't have upper or capital letter, but just an aesthetic thing, which is not actually difficult than you may think, is how the word is written, how the letter is written in the beginning of the word, middle, and the end. Yeah, just you need to
Mhm.
add a line. I would say small line. And the alphabet is actually the you can learn it within 1 day. Okay,
Hmm.
3 days if you find some challenges, but I don't think it will take long. It's not like, for example, alphabet of, for example, Chinese syllabs,
Kanjis?
yeah, or kanjis, for example. Arabic alphabet contain 28 letters. Another
Mhm.
challenge actually to assimilate in the beginning. Arabic doesn't represent vowels
Mhm.
like
That's true.
the
They skip
especially the
vowels.
yes the short ones, so that might be challenging for, and actually for me personally, when I try to read the Persian text, I found it difficult for the Persian words. Arabic words, of course, I read them easily, but the Persian words, I look at them without knowing, is it, for example, za, is it z, is it zo? You see what I mean? But because I don't know their language, I know just a few words. So what else I wanted to say? Okay, alphabet challenge done. Now you will need to learn
Hmm.
the vocabulary. For the vocabulary, I think it should be easy in the beginning. So, but the challenging thing would be grammar. If you go deep, and I
Hmm.
noticed, I met one person, one girl who studied Arabic at Vilnius University. And when I looked to what they are studying, like at the third and fourth year, they start going deep into the grammar,
Hmm.
which, and you know what they are teaching them? Things that I studied back in middle school, and now I totally forgot. Like I couldn't even help her properly.
Ah,
Yes, so that
wow.
part, yes, that part is really, really difficult. Well, at least I'm speaking from my perspective. That part, yes. But the beginner part, like if you are going to do, for example, let's say a B1 level or a B2 level in Arabic, which actually, if you want the truth, the A1 to C2 system, I think it doesn't fit Arabic. I mean, that's my opinion. Maybe there are professionals who are working on this field who can say their opinion, but personally, as a speaker, it seems that no. Also, I forgot to mention two things.
Hmm.
Yeah, one thing, Arabic language have three sounds that may be challenging to Europeans, like ha, ka, and a. They might be challenging. I know some people who pronounce them perfectly, some
Hmm.
Lithuanians who pronounce them perfectly. But I know others who, especially with ka, they mix it with ka. And this, might confuse you,
Oh.
especially if you have a
Mhm.
romantic partner from an Arabic country. And actually, you can say to him, qalbi, like my heart. Yeah, it's, like an endearment. And imagine you end up saying to him, kalbi. And you know what does it mean? My dog. So yeah, be careful about that, especially as I told you, if you have a romantic partner from an Arabic country. So basically, yeah, and also another thing, but this it depend. I think only Slovenian that I have from European countries. In Arabic, we have singular, dual, and plural. So
Mhm.
plural starts
Mhm.
from three-person, three things, and above. So two, it's dual. So I guess only Slovenian language in Europe that have it. But yeah, Arabic have this as well.
So, if I understood correctly, it's not just singular and plural.
Yeah.
There's something else
Yes.
in Arabic.
Yes.
So, what is that third components?
It's the dual, like when you have two people.
The dual. Yeah,
Yes.
understood.
And
Okay.
by the way, I don't know if you personally know about it. Like old Lithuanian language, I guess until 17th century, had it. And also
I have
the
heard about it. Yeah.
yes, the original Proto-Indo-European language. But nowadays, as
Mhm.
far as I know, only Slovenian language in Europe that have it. Maybe some minor languages that I don't know, but like the major one, the state official ones, no one have it except Slovenian.
Mhm. I do know that actually the old Proto-Indo-European language had it, and naturally Lithuanian also. But over time, I guess with language change and the standardization of the language, it kind of went out.
Yeah,
Like
I'm,
also an extra case that we
yeah.
had, which also disappeared with time.
I'm glad actually that the dual disappeared from Lithuanian.
It makes our lives a little bit easier.
Exactly.
And at the same time,
Mhm,
you have mentioned that you speak two variants of the Arabic language. So there's
mhm,
the standardized Arabic and there's
mhm.
the Moroccan Arabic, which is also called, I believe, either Darija or Darija,
No, Darija.
which I don't know
Yeah.
the exact pronunciation.
Darija.
Darija.
Yeah.
So you speak the Moroccan dialects and also you speak the standard dialect. And some people go as far as to say that Moroccan dialect is almost like a separate language, which I don't know if it's true, but that definitely indicates that there's quite a difference from the standard version. So, how different is standard Arabic and Moroccan Arabic?
Actually, if you want the truth, and this is of course also my personal opinion as well, the standard Arabic you
Hmm.
can say it's the Latin, or from Eastern European perspective, the
Yeah.
all the Slavonic language. Yeah. And the dialects that we are speaking now, it's the Roman languages like French, Spanish, and so on, or Slavic languages
Hmm.
like Russian and so on. So it's like that. So um,
Hmm.
what is the issue here? Remember that Standard Arabic is the language of Quran, especially
Hmm.
in its old form. So and especially there are some people who believe that Arabic is the language of heaven and stuff like that. So they don't accept that Arabic can be replaced by a new language. But in reality, after a thousand of years or something, like Arabic have evolved. The only thing I couldn't find any evidence before 16th century how was the situation. Like I know that Egyptian dialect existed in 16th century. Moroccan dialect I couldn't find any source when it appeared.
Hmm.
So that's the oldest reference that I personally found. So I don't know when exactly those dialects evolved. Now, how far it is. Actually, there is a difference in vocabulary because remember, each Arabic dialect have occupied the territory which other languages were spoken. So, for example, in North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, we have a lot of Amazigh or Berber words in our languages. And Egypt have some Coptic or ancient Egyptian words. And for example, Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, and so on, they have Aramean or Syriac words. And yeah, that's one thing. Another thing also, it's the grammar. Uh, Actually, I'm not sure how it works, but I heard, like, for example, in the case of Morocco, like it was the Amazigh grammar who took Arabic words and
Hmm.
it gave birth to the Darija. And for example, in the
Mm.
case of Egypt, it was the ancient Egyptian grammar was taken with Arabic words, and it gave rise to Egyptian dialects. This is a theory that I heard. But if we compare grammatically, Moroccan dialect is way simpler, way easier than how to say standard Arabic. And you can also do a comparison since you speak Portuguese. For example, if you compare
Hmm.
Portuguese with the Latin, Latin, for example, had cases while Portuguese lost it. The same in Arabic. Standard Arabic actually have only three cases, and they are lost in all the dialects. That's one thing. Another thing, when it comes to pronunciation, for example, Arabic have the and the, like in English, the ones that are written in th. Those ones are lost in all dialects. I don't know any dialect who preserve it. Then there is emergence of ga, which is natural sound in European languages, but it doesn't exist in standard Arabic. But in dialects, it exists.
Hmm.
Also, we talked earlier about dual. Dual disappear in all dialects, and it seems also yeah simplified the way of conjugation because in Arabic there is so many pronouns. Like for example, for you, imagine you in singular, dual, and plural, and then each one have masculine and feminine, and then
Mm.
they there is in plural and dual, and also masculine and feminine, but this have been simplified. For example, they in Moroccan dialect we have only one pronoun for both feminine and
Hmm.
masculine. And
Right.
but still for example you, we have sorry, masculine you and feminine you. I'm speaking about the singular one. So we have masculine and feminine, and also when we are conjugating or something, like you can feel the difference.
It would be interesting to know whether, if you spoke the standard Arabic, could you use it in every Arabic speaking country? Or maybe in some locations they would not understand standards. And from the other point of view, if you took the Moroccan dialect and you went to, let's say, some other Arabic speaking country, even Egypt, which is a close neighbor, would they understand your dialect?
Not really. Like no one behind, I guess, Libya, no one will understand it, and even Libyans will struggle. So starting from Libya, I have to change the way how I speak. And actually, I don't speak to them in standard Arabic because if someone will start speaking standard Arabic. people will start laughing, like they will feel like, and especially the locals, like average citizens. You see what I mean? Arabic. Could you imagine that I never used standard Arabic besides school until I communicated with one Czech girl. Imagine, I never use it with Arabs. I use
Wow.
it with the European girl. So this Czech girl, she told me that she was learning Arabic and she speaks it fluently, and then we start communicating. My first day, actually, I struggled a bit. I had to get used to the situation, but then it's become fine. And what else I wanted to mention? For me personally, when I meet people from West Asia and Egypt, I try to imitate their dialect. I don't speak Egyptian fluently. I don't speak Lebanese fluently,
Hmm.
but I just try to imitate it, and it works. Like people understand me there over there.
Hmm. Okay, so and how do you imitate their dialect? Is it because you have already heard it from before, or you're just picking it up as you go?
Actually, because Egyptian cinema is very popular. So I had
Hmm.
access to Egyptian movies. I didn't like series, but Egyptian movies are really good. Well, especially back then when I was a teenager. So I was watching Egyptian movies. I was watching sometimes their programs. Even now, some if something is interesting. Also for Lebanese, I like their music, and I like also Egyptian music. And also I was watching some of their programs, like they had good programs back when I was in high school. So that's why I knew how they are speaking. And
Hmm.
also I pick up some words which are not existing in standard Arabic. And then when I had chance, so I start speaking with them. But I believe only if I live there for 6 months or a year that I will speak fluently like them. And I know actually some Moroccans and Algerians who lived in Egypt, and if you hear this person speaking, you will believe he's Egyptian. Yeah, but for me, I didn't arrive yet to this level.
Understood. So, in a way, it all comes to inputs. How much input can you
Exactly.
get over time by listening, reading, and so on? Mainly, in most regards, probably it's going to be most of it will come through reading. I'm sorry, not
Uh,
through reading, through
yeah,
listening.
exactly. Yeah.
So probably when a person just starts learning Arabic, because I have some friends who also have attempted to learn, and I don't know how far they have gone with the language, but most of them start by learning the standard version. Because probably most people believe if you know standard, then you can go to Lebanon, you can go to Libya, you can go to Saudi Arabia, you can use the standards, and the people will still, maybe they will laugh at you, maybe in silent, maybe out loud, but they will still understand you. So that's a good thing. Whereas with Latin, most people in Latin speaking countries, or let's say at least in the languages that came out from Latin, uh, would not understand Latin, most probably.
Exactly.
So here, Standard Arabic has the upper hands over Latin, or let's say Old Church Slavonic, because it's still comprehensible to the majority of people, even though it sounds a little bit odd and sometimes funny. So, is this approach? What do you think? Is it a good approach to start the standards learning standard Arabic and then later on go into different regions and try to study the regional aspects? Or maybe a person should really focus on one region and then go from region to region, avoiding the standards.
There is a problem in Arabic countries because officially the language is the standard Arabic. So anything written is in standard Arabic. Well, except menus at restaurants, but generally it's only standard Arabic. Okay, education is in standard Arabic. What else I wanted to say? Like official announcement and so on. So anything official, it's in standard Arabic. But
Mhm.
what people actually speak, it's different.
Mhm.
You see the point. And now the question is, it depends on what the person is studying. So if the person is studying, in Lithuania, it exists only, the standard Arabic because this generally programs study generally about Middle East. So they don't have country
Hmm.
specific studies. Like for example, you may find it in UK or US or Canada. So Lithuanians would more likely learn standard Arabic. But for example, if you are going to start to specialize, let's say, politics of North Africa, or let's say cultural culture of North Africa, then would be better to learn Moroccan or Algerian dialects or Tunisian. But if you are, but and also that's the point. If you are learning standard Arabic, know that this language, it's like Latin. So yeah, educated people, and actually that's what I would like to correct you. Educated people will understand you, but remember, unfortunately, in many Arabic countries, a lot of people are uneducated. Some of them even are illiterate. So they will not understand what you are talking. And especially if you come to North Africa, like a Moroccan person who left at 9 grade, which is unfortunately common, will not understand what you are going to talk with. Even he will start laughing and say, "What are you speaking? Man, try to speak normal." You see what I mean? So
Right.
that's the point.
Okay, understood. And when people think about Morocco, if let's say people haven't visited or don't know much, they imagine it's in North Africa, so it should be. They imagined the desert, like all these stereotypical ideas. But in reality, Morocco is very different from that. So it has mountains, even snow in certain periods of time in the
Yes.
mountains. So it's a very diverse region. And when you came to Lithuania, and when you came to England as well, did you have to adapt to the new environments, or you kind of felt normally like at home? Because when I came even to Portugal, to Madeira, it took me around probably a year to get used to the environments. It did feel a little bit foreign. So we have trees, but different trees. There's a lot of sun, but it feels different as well. So did you have to assimilate to the new surroundings, or it kind of went easy on you?
For me, it went easy because I prepared myself somehow, and especially in Lithuania. Well, to be honest with you, weather is always the least of my concern because first I'm looking to the country, whether I like its culture. That's the most important, and whether I'm going to
Mhm.
fit in the society. Like because, for example, to be fair with you, I cannot live in Scandinavian countries or in Germany because their values doesn't match my values. But on the other hand, Eastern European values and Latin American values match what I believe in, and I found them logical, and I'm ready to adapt. And also another thing, when I compare myself to others, when I come to a foreign country, especially if I want to live there, I put back anything I learned, and anything
Mhm.
new for me, it's not new. I have to accept it quickly.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not hiding it. Okay, first, comparing to many, including Lithuanians, I'm okay with snow. I really love winter. Just it shouldn't last long like last year. Well, 2 months maximum, it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm very happy about it. But 6 months like last year, that was. I never saw it, and that was too much. The only two things I hate about Lithuanian weather is rain. Like, I really, really
Mhm.
hate rain. And yeah, like, oh my God. And especially if I have plans. Oh my God, really, really, I hate. And Lithuanian rain, the problem it's I don't know. I think it's even terrible than Moroccan one, if I'm not mistaken. It feels like somebody is throwing I don't know, or like a dam was destroyed and it's flooding over me. And another thing which might surprise you and might surprise the audience. In fact, I don't like summer in Lithuania. Like when it is
Hmm.
over 20-degree, and especially let me not
Mhm.
generalize inland because I lived in Vilnius and Kaunas, and both of them they are far away from the coast. So living in
Yes.
Kaunas and Vilnius, in my opinion, the it shouldn't exceed 20-degree because between 10 to 20,
Yeah.
it's really perfect. I really like it. I can wear my t-shirt,
Mhm.
even shorts, and go, and I don't feel how to say dying from heat, and I don't feel cold as well. So it's really perfect weather.
Yeah.
Of course, providing it doesn't rain. Uh, yeah, I actually love hot weather, but only if I live next to the sea. because something I didn't mention where I'm actually from in Morocco. I'm from Casablanca, and I lived for some time in Kenitra. So both these cities are on the Atlantic coast. So basically,
Yeah,
our
coastal
summer,
cities.
yes, when it is 40, I go to the beach and I swim, so I enjoy my time over there. But here, if it is really if it is hot, and imagine I'm walking and so on, and it's really uncomfortable.
Well, what I would recommend is
Hmm.
like what I and my girlfriend have done in the past. So we moved to live in Trakai, and Trakai are surrounded by lakes. So in the
Okay.
summertime, it's great. And it's actually a good communication because there's a train line that goes directly to Vilnius, and you get to the center of Vilnius in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So actually, it's faster than going from, let's say, some regions, some neighborhoods to center from
Hmm.
Trakai than it is to go, let's say, I don't know, from like the northern parts. So that's how we escape this heat island syndrome, which is, of course, even worse in, let's say, places like Athens,
Oh
which
yeah.
I have never been, but I just heard how hard is it to be there in the summertime. But yeah, that would come surprising for many people, I believe, because in some people's eyes, Lithuanians only smile during the summer. So they're like, woohoo, 3 months of sun. And then it's again gets a little bit dark and windy in some regards. And you have mentioned also Lithuanian values, which I find interesting. So you do look like a person that really structures your life on values, and you select the region depending on them. So what made, let's say, Lithuanian values, or we can take the eastern northern part of Europe, the values that come from the Baltic and Slavic lands, what made them more appealing to you than, let's say, Germanic or Anglo-Saxon values? Why were they closer to your heart than the other ones?
Okay. So first of all, to approach people, like if I approach Lithuanians, even on the streets, it's much easier. Like we can, of course, it depends on person, but
Hmm.
generally the majority, it's easy to start a conversation. And
Yeah.
starting a conversation, if you like each other, you can exchange your contacts, and then later on, slowly build a friendship. Yeah, for example, in Morocco, you can build a friendship so quickly, but then the quality of friendship will depend on your luck. But here, what I really appreciate, that yeah, it takes time to build a strong friendship, but at the end, it is strong. I only had issue with one Lithuanian friend, but and because this person didn't accept my lifestyle. But otherwise, I never had any problem with any Lithuanian person that I consider a friend. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's the most important, like friendship, because when you come to a foreign country, you are generally alone, and if you are, and of course I respect life choices of people, but if you are someone who look for company, like Lithuania, Poland, the Czech Republic, it's a right place comparing, for example, to especially Scandinavian countries. Another thing also, like Lithuanians are, and of course this is my opinion, maybe people will have different opinion. So Lithuanians tend to be
Hmm.
flexible. For example, when it comes to time, like generally, of course, I'm very punctual about the time, but sometimes got stuck in the traffic or something. I tend to inform my friends, and it seems they are okay with that. But and of course, not like the stereotypical Moroccan time. Like be late, for example, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's acceptable. But for example, people from Germanic countries, generally, if they want to meet you at let's say 13 o'clock, it has to be 13:00. And I don't like this strictness. Flexibility is good, so that's why I accept it. Another thing also, it's hospitality. Like when the Lithuanians are closer to you, and how to say, and they invite you at home, really you feel yourself like a king in most of the aspects.
Hmm.
Well, Germanic values are different, and for example, the thing that surprised me when I found out some maps, and I read it even more detail about it, that for example, in parts of Scandinavian countries, like someone who wants, for example, let's say you are Norwegian and I'm your guest. Imagine we are sitting with each other, and then you want to
Hmm.
eat, you will literally kick me out. I mean, in for example, Lithuania, nobody will do it. I mean, if you want to eat, more likely you will share food with me. And if for some reason you don't have enough, y- until time that we are living, then you can eat. In Morocco, actually, if you come to my place, of course, I will give you to eat. But when I heard that they do that in some countries, I was really shocked about this. So basically, most important thing, friendliness, flexibility, and hospitality. So these three important values, I found them here in Eastern European, the Slavic Baltic world, as well as in Latin America. So that's the things that are really important for me.
Okay, very interesting. And when you, let's say, take Latin Americans,
Hmm.
because I have met a lot of Latin Americans here in Madeira because we have a big population from Brazil
Hmm.
and also from Venezuela, Ecuador. So I meet Latin Americans on a daily basis. And they do seem friendly and they do seem warm, but in another way, which I cannot really put my finger on yet. So we share this kind of approach and friendliness, but it feels like our friendliness and our understanding of friendships are somewhat different. So I don't know how much you have experienced that, but I would agree that we take, like, let's say, a Lithuanian takes time to build friendships. And when the person builds a friendship, it's a strong friendship and it's a lasting friendship, unless something goes terribly wrong. Or, like, maybe, after 10 years of being a friend, you just become very different people and you just naturally accept the faith and you just move on, and no hard feelings. It's just that we have grown apart over time. Whereas I don't yet know, I cannot really comment much about Latin American friendships, but they seem to be predicated on different things. um, what about Moroccan friendships? If I wanted to make a friend from Morocco, if I want to build a friendship, are there some do's and don'ts when building friendship with Moroccan people?
Well, first of all, in Morocco, like it's easy, really easy to make a friend. But just of course, you have to be careful because unfortunately, our society it's challenging. Let's say. So,
Hmm.
for example, ideally, you have to make friends in either at work or at university, or sorry, at university slash school. So where you study.
Hmm.
Or for example, if you are doing gym, in the place of gym, or yeah, generally I would say those are the right places, at least in my opinion. So okay, so when you are meeting, different strangers and so on, so simply you just start a conversation and so on, and then you will not realize in a week, 2 weeks, you are already friends. You will start hanging out with each other. For example, outside of the environment where you met, you will start meeting and so on. So it's quite easier. But the problem is the quality, like I say. Unfortunately, things that I dislike about Moroccan society, it's the reason why, for example, I decide, for example, to break up with many people. And also, for example, even here in Lithuania, I keep my distance from the majority of Moroccan people. Okay, the first thing is generally in Morocco, people don't value each other. Like for example, if I have
Hmm.
dreams, if I have how to say ambitions and stuff like that, many people look at you down about that. They don't want you to succeed. While for example, here in Lithuania,
Hmm.
people encourage you. Like, okay, people who are neutral, like you have a neutral relation with them, they just stay silent when you say what. For example, if I describe my dream, so someone who I have a neutral relation, this person will be just silent. However, a true friend in Lithuania will really encourage me, like, yes, you have to do that, while I'm saying, and this is really make me feel very good whenever I meet Lithuanians, for example. And the same I apply it on Polish and Russian and Ukrainians and Belarusians. But for example, in Morocco, except my really close friends, which I choose carefully, like the majority of people, whenever I see some a dream of mine or an ambition, they always put me down, and I'm looking like that. I said, what is this society that I'm living in? And I guess, well, also this is my opinion. Unfortunately, I believe that this was is more probably the reason why we will never go forward. Like, that's what I believe. So that's a first thing. Another thing, also envy. Like, I notice in, for example, when I compare my relation with Europeans in general, like, Europeans generally, like I said, they like the good in you, and generally they don't envy you about something, even about nothing. But in Morocco, like, generally people envy each other, and and this can ruin a relationship. So imagine you have a friend for a year, and then you found out that he's jealous that, I don't know, that you have a car, or that you have a girlfriend, or that you have, something that is very normal. And what else I want to say? Yeah, when you said about the do and not to do, well, it's very hard question, to be fair with you, about it. General, because also my personality is really different from others, so I cannot generalize. But generally, for me, it's I have same approach with any person from any nationality. First thing, respect the difference and accept the other. That's how I work personally. So when I met you first time, I assume you are a totally different person from me. I will not judge you about your lifestyle, your life decision, or anything. And then we start our friendship. Of course, if we found things that are common, that I like, and we find it common, I will try harder to be your close friend, because that's, and I'm speaking personally. I'm not generalizing with other Moroccans. So that's how I built relations.
Well, I think it's a very good
Mm.
basis on which to build relationships because if you actually care about your friend and if you are true friends, you want each other to help, not just help like I scratch your back, you scratch mine, but in such a way that you actually want that the other person would be better and the other person wants you to be better.
Exactly.
So it's like it's not dependence, it's actually a sort of independence where you want the best for the other and the other wants the best for you, and you kind of grow together. And that's a true friend, at least in my eyes. But of course, it's not very easy to reach this level of friendship because most of the friendships, like if you take Aristotle, I think he had like three types of friends. So there were
Okay.
friends of utility, friends of pleasure, and true friends. So friends of utility, well, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, right? So let's say I help you with this, you help me with that. So it's more like a business deal, right? Then friendships of pleasure is like you have a habit that you like, I have a habit that I like, we do the habit together. It can be going to the gym, it can be smoking pot, it can be anything in that spectrum, right? It doesn't really matter. It's a good habit or bad habit. As long as it brings pleasure, we can build a friendship on that. And then there's true friends that I think, as he put it, I will probably paraphrase it, but
Hmm.
it's when you care for the other soul for its own sake. So you care for the other person for his own sake, not for yours. And if the other person is also a true friend, he cares for your sake, for yourself. So that's a very good platform to build a relationship. Of course, it, these are not very separate categories. You know, you still derive friendship, pleasure from true friends, and utility as well. But at the same time, it's not limited to either one of these two. So yes, it's a little bit hard to reach such a level, and When we think about envy as well,
Mhm.
unfortunately, my relationship was a little bit different because maybe in Lithuania, envy is not very pronounced. It's not visible at the first start. But with time, you actually start to see it and you start to recall it. Maybe it was a look, maybe it was a micro expression, maybe it was something underneath. So sometimes with time, you start to recognize that there is some envy between people, but I don't say that it's peculiarly Lithuanian. I think it's universal. It just is expressed in different kind of ways. Maybe it's not very in your face, but it's like politically correct envy. Let's say like that. But maybe it can be a little bit less common. Maybe there are more people that don't have this attribute towards you, which is always good, and you want to, of course, to build relationships with these kind of people. So I'm really glad when you said that you actually made a lot of friends in Lithuania and that you managed to kind of get close one to another, which I find fantastic.
Thank you. And can I comment on something?
Of course.
Yeah, for example, about what Aristotle said. I mean, in my opinion, like friendship based on utility, it's not a real friendship. Like that's what I believe. On pleasure, I agree because how to say, but still, if you are sharing a hobby together all the time and all the time meeting for this hobby, I don't know from your perspective, but from my perspective, a bound should exist, and with this bound, you will start caring for the other person. I mean, that's at least how it worked with me. But friendship of utility, that's out of question. That's not. I mean, if I have such kind of relation, I mean, I had such kind of relationship with some persons. For example, I remember back when I was studying. I studied in Moroccan University for a year and a half. So during that time, I was helping some guys, and they were helping me in subjects I don't understand. And our relation was only this: we met a month before exam to prepare, and that's it. Our relationship end up until the next semester. But and this I never considered that person as a friend. Even in Morocco, we
Hmm.
use always the word my friend for someone that you know. But actually,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, but actually, in reality, this person is not your actual friend. If it is just utility.
Probably at best an acquaintance, at best. At worst, just a stranger.
Exactly.
You also have mentioned that there are complexities in the Moroccan society.
Mhm.
Like there, of course, are complexities in Lithuanian society because if you look at history, then you know that there's a lot of interconnection between Lithuanians and the Poles, Lithuanians and Belarusians, Lithuanians and Russians, even Lithuanians and Swedes. Coming back to Morocco, what kind of social complexities do you have there?
Well, how can I start? Also, the problem, yeah, for us also we had our share of a period of time. We call it the years of the lead. Like during this period, yeah, there have been some human rights abused back then. So, what I wanted to say, actually, this starts affecting people a bit. So sometimes people cannot express themselves publicly, and yeah, because of that. But on the other hand, I would also personally, I'm blaming the rise of fundamentalism in the region in general. So in Morocco, I would say it started rising by the early 2000s. So because before I remember a time I was child, yes, but I remember a time where I see women without a veil at all. But now half of the girls approximately, they are doing veil, and this is hijab, to not be
Mhm.
misunderstood. So and this for me it's alarming personally. Another thing also, I notice the way how people start thinking. Like people are becoming regressive rather than progressive. And actually, for example, just here in Lithuania, I stopped sitting in a large group of Moroccans or Arabs in general because I don't like the way how they are talking. Like, for example, if it is a scientific topic, please let's talk scientifically. I'm a religious person. I'm doing my religious duty. But religion is when it comes to my relation with God, and that's it. Like there are a lot of questions that we cannot explain it by religious texts. Obviously, we need to explain it by science or by history. Like yeah, but the point is, whenever you speak with those people, the problem they don't even quote Quran. I wish if they do, they quote those those guys. You know what I'm talking about,
I do.
who speak some nonsense. Uh, and they caught them. They said, "Oh, this guy said that," and said, "Are you serious?" And then also there is a negation of a lot of things. For example, many if you take an average Moroccan, especially those who are regressive in this way, if you take an average person, you know what they believe? They believe that until colonial time or come, like all Moroccans during all this 1,000 year have never drinked, have never had sex outside of marriage. But are they serious? Like there is no, honestly, like not only Moroccan society, even the big caliphate. Some caliphs had how to say a harem of young boys, so you can understand what it means. Also, some caliphs publicly enjoy alcohol, and history have registered this caliph enjoy alcohol, especially wine. Wine was very popular. There was even an era where wine was really, really popular in Abbasid time. I believe, if I'm not wrong, around the 9th to 10th century. Another thing, prostitution was legal in some eras of time. So what they are talking about? Like people weren't pious all this time. Like people are people. You see what I mean? Because many of these people they said no, our in back in the day everything was fine. Ta ta ta. What is fine? Like, and yeah. So this mentality. I mean, I blame Islamic fundamentalism to bring it, and unfortunately, I don't know. In my opinion, like Arabic governments in general should fight it. In my opinion, they should close this media that propagates such idea. Then also emphasize more on education because that's what is important. Unfortunately, Moroccan education system is among the top worst 30 education system in the world. So yeah, they teach us good values. I mean, at least in the time when I studied, like when I see what they're teaching us, they were teaching us good values. But the problem how to instill these good values in the kids, because the teacher just explains, sometimes he doesn't explain, he just dictate on us, and when he dictates, you don't actually care. So there is no this approach as I see here in schools and in universities, like where actually the teacher give you a message, and you feel some interaction. So I guess by changing education system, ideas will change. Another thing also, in my opinion, Moroccan society actually, unlike many people will think, it is pluralistic and diverse. There are people who are not Muslim, but there are people who have different views that are not accepted by the mainstream, and they speak publicly. And for me, I like to listen to this diverse media, and sometimes even I'm surprised that such type of way of thinking exists in Morocco. Even me, I'm surprised about it. And I guess, and yeah, the issue that I wanted to come, a majority of people are not accepting the diversity. Like I'm speaking diversity in opinion. Many people don't accept it, unfortunately. So many people are imagining, this average Moroccan, like I'm speaking local Moroccans. So they are expecting you as a man to be like this, as a woman to be like this, and if you are outside, oh, you will be a pariah in the society. I mean, this way of thinking, in my opinion, should disappear, and it shouldn't have a place in our society.
And also, I
Hmm.
think if I am correct,
Hmm.
my pronunciation will be terrible. But there are theories that the word Morocco came from an Arabic phrase, al makhbir al Aqsa.
المغرب الأقصى. Yes, المغرب الأقصى.
So, which kind of roughly translates to maybe the farthest west.
Exactly.
So, probably it's one of the farthest regions of the Arabic world, and
Yes.
most probably being on the most west part, or being on the most east part, brings you closer with other cultural worlds. So most likely, being able to interact with different cultural arenas, of course, invites more diversity and plurality into the given society. And from what I know, I think Morocco is predominantly Sunni.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Whereas, let's say, when I talked with Bahadur last on about Persia and Iran, Iran is mainly predominantly Shia.
Shia, exactly.
And for an average Lithuanian, or we might even say an average European, they don't really know much about the differences between Sunni and Shia, and they don't really understand the conflicts that go on. They might think about, like, okay, well, Catholics and Protestants, maybe there's something like that, but we still don't know. So why is there so much tension and conflict between, let's say, Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims?
Well, actually, the recent conflict is mostly political because of the rise of the Islamic Republic in Iran in 79. Before that, like during the from let's say before 70s, like Iran was an empire. So the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was a U.S. ally, and he was close to the Saudian regime. So together they were okay. But unfortunately, when how to say the Islamic Revolution happened, then the Khomeini regime wanted to export the revolution. So they
Yeah.
wanted to create a pan-Islamic Shiite state ruled by the ideas of Khomeini. Like Iran will be much larger than now. So and this come under direct threat to Saudi Arabia. And by the way, many people also don't know that, especially Europeans or Westerners in general. Saudi Arabia at that time was actually progressive, like during
Hmm.
the 70s, especially 60s and 70s. Even if its king at that time, Faisal, was more pan-Islamic, but was more pan-Islamic in aspects of cooperation and fighting against Israel. That's the pan-Islamic that he wanted. He didn't envisage to create an Islamic empire, but just to cooperation between Islamic countries. So when a Shia state appeared, then something happened also many people don't know about it. In the first day of the new Islamic century, a terrorist group took over the holy place in Mecca, and they wanted to establish some kind of regime over there. So then Saudi Arabia, with the assistance of France and Jordan, they put down to this terrorist uh, overtaken. And since then, Saudi Arabia have changed. So since they have a competitor, they become like that. And also, these conflicts have been dormant for so many centuries. So there have been some religious scholars who were attacking the Shia and even don't consider them as Muslims. And now those scholars are texts are revived, and there are many people who have such aspects. And like I told you, it's mostly political. Like before that, such conflict didn't exist, like for much of the 20th century. And in Morocco, actually, it seems we are at least during the time that I was studying, it seems we are somehow far away from such conflicts. So, for example, I never even felt what is the difference. Like I always considered the Iranians like fellow Muslims, so I never saw something different comparing to, for example, people in Middle East. And how to say? Then recently, with the rise of this fundamentalism, I noticed actually some people, some Moroccan people, who have this hate towards Shia, and even to the point that they don't consider them Muslims, which is actually against the religion first, because as far as those people follow, first of all, Islam is six article of faith and five pillars. So if you follow this, you cannot exclude the person from the religion. I mean, if of course, For example, one of the pillars of one of the articles of faith, you have to believe in all the prophets, including Muhammad. So if someone say, I am Muslim, but I don't believe in Noah, I don't believe in Moses, I don't believe in Jesus, then this person, of course, is not a Muslim.
Well, interesting,
Mm,
because you have mentioned the names of people who would be traditionally seen as more related with Judaism or
mhm,
even Christianity, which is Noah and Jesus.
mhm.
And for many people, again, who don't know much about the Islamic faith, they would think, well, there's only Muhammad,
No.
and that's it. So, but of course, they maybe do not know the origin of Islam and the complexities of Judaism, Islam, later Christianity, like the trio we can say of monotheistic religions. And
Abrahamic. Abrahamic
Abrahamic, yes,
religions. Yeah.
yes. So now you are living mainly in a somewhat secular
Hmm.
society, but also with Christian backgrounds. And of course, maybe you also interact with people who are not secular, but are still adherents to Christianity, or they claim at least to be, because to practice Christianity and to say that you're Christian, it's two different things. Like I can say I'm a Martian, but that will not make me one. So, but have you seen some kind of conflicts between, let's say, the ideas of people that say that they are Christian, the ideas that people that they say they are Hebrew, and the people that say that they are Muslim? Uh, are there really big conflicts over which to fight for, or are these more, again, political things that are happening?
Personally, I would say this time it's not political, but rather social. So the problem it's the fundamentalist in each part, because of course not only Islam have its fundamentalist, also
For sure.
Christians and the Jews and the Hindus and the others. So that's how to say. Fortunately, in at least in European countries, education system have helped in creating this pluralistic, tolerant uh, societies. But people, like I said, people are people. Like even if the education system managed to create such society, still there is a fringe in of people in within this society who don't accept these ideas. Honestly, I'm fine if you believe in that. But when it comes to the act itself, then here is the problem. Then this person become a threat to the society. Well, for my personal interaction, I actually never had any issue because how to say, like I said in the beginning, when we start a relationship, whether for the purpose of friendship or business or collegiality or whatever, I always assume you are totally different from me. So, and I have to respect how you are different, as far as you respect my difference as well. And that's how it works. And also for me, I like especially when I get closer, because actually before coming to Lithuania, I was asking people about their religion from even day one. But now I don't do it anymore. So until we get too close from each other. So when I'm getting close from the person, and that actually I'm very interested in learning about other religions. So sometimes when I know the person is actually religious, so I ask, like for example, many things I never knew about Christianity, and now I knew because person have explained to me, especially Catholics, Protestants, and as well Orthodox. And also I like to compare and to see what is different and what is not. And also another thing, I'm also not imposing my values, if you know what I mean.
Of course, I do understand. Yeah.
No problem. And also, people tend generally to be respectful. For example, during Ramadan, for example, I'm observing Ramadan. I'm not eating or drinking during the daytime. For example, if we have to meet today and today it's Ramadan, so you would like to sit in a coffee. Honestly, I have no problem with that. So I sit with you, you order your coffee, your cake even, and we can engage in conversation, and I'm not distracted at all. But some people would be, honestly. But for me, I don't have any issue. And this actually people who see me like that, I earn the respect for that. So and then people act with me as Zakaria, not as this Muslim guy or this Moroccan
Hmm.
guy. You see what I mean? Another thing also, I go to bars a lot, but I don't drink. Personally, I don't drink alcohol, but I go to bars a lot and I enjoy company of my friends in the bar. So and it's very funny when people order the beer. I always like to order the gira. So like that, we look like we are ordering the same thing. Yeah, and in general, that's the way how we should live, honestly. And unfortunately, many people from Muslim background forgot about that. But our Prophet Muhammad, he had good relation with people from other faiths. Like always, he was meeting with the Jewish leaders in Medina, and they even had debates, and this is recorded in history that he had such thing. So, in my opinion, like relation between different faiths, since we spoke about that, should be first on mutual respect, and second also on learning from each other. So on the dialogue. Also, I would like to say something about me. Personally, although I'm officially Sunni, but I'm not actually, and I'm how to say, I'm more into a kind of liberal Islam. Like I analyze the text by myself, and there are many people who are like me. So we don't ascribe ourselves to a particular group, but we have the text, we believe in it, and we analyze it according to our understanding, and this gives us more freedom than, for example, people who like to stick to the word. But of course, there are some people who stick to the word, and they are open and they are more respectable, and so on.
Well, that's actually the common trend in Lithuania as well.
Hmm.
For the people who are religious,
Hmm.
most of the people are religious without going to the church. Well, at least they consider themselves Christian, but they don't attend church. So there's also has been this kind of change where many people understand that they can be Christian, but they don't have to go to the church and listen to the priest. They can make their own decisions and they can make their own inferences from the subject matter itself. So they don't have to be, interpreted like little sheep that have to be
Hmm.
guided, you know. So this actually brings a little bit more of a type of personal faith, individual faith, and maybe a little bit even of eclecticism, like taking bits and pieces from different kind of beliefs. So it's also not common. Well, I would consider myself as an eclectic, uh, and I wouldn't say that I'm religious or not, because I don't adhere to any strict religion in a certain sense. But I like certain aspects of Taoism, and I also like certain aspects of Buddhism. I like certain aspects of Christianity, and if I would know more about Islam, I'm pretty sure I would like some more aspects of Islam as well. So, and of course, many people would say that this is like heresy, or the secular people would
Hmm.
even say, "Well, why are you bothering with this kind of stuff, anyways?" But because I have an interest in history and anthropology, and I don't believe that the world began in the 18th century, with the Industrial Revolution, or like the Enlightenment age in Europe. I do understand that the world has been before, and saying that all the people who lived before that were primitive, it's ridiculous. You cannot judge the entirety of human existence by 200 years of past, and you cannot say this is like the ultimate. It's very short-sighted in my mind, at least. So 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 it would be definitely interesting to learn more about the Islamic world, and about the Arabic language. I actually, to be honest, I attended a couple of classes while I was still in my bachelor's
Hmm.
in VDU as well. Unfortunately, my supervisors informed me that I had too many credits already. So I had to give up some of the classes. And unfortunately, I had to give up Arabic because it was farthest away from my core studies. So, but I do have this idea in mind that I would like to learn Arabic in the future, whether it be standard Arabic or some kind of a dialect like Moroccan Arabic. I would definitely enjoy that. Thinking about you, what are your plans for the future? What would you like to do? Do you plan to continue your life in Lithuania, or are you thinking about going abroad afterwards, maybe visiting another country? What is your general idea about how the future of Zakaria should be, if it could be the best way that it is possible?
I would like to stay in Lithuania, like forever, and how to say, I would like, of course, to have experience in other countries, like especially in. I would like, for example, like for a year, to go to Latin America, like to live, for example, a few weeks or a few months in this country and then the other and so on. But unfortunately, some countries I really, really want to visit, but they have some issues, especially the
Hmm.
rise of crime. So I need really to be careful by the time I will decide to do that. Also, I would like, for example, yeah, to live in Poland as well. For example, for 2 months, 3 months, even up to 6 months. I would like to do that, but my permanent country, like my permanent home where I'm based, it will be here in Vilnius. Well, yeah, I said Vilnius, but when I was, I would say until before coming to Lithuania, ideally, I always dreamed living next to the sea. But the
Hmm.
moment I choose Lithuania as home, I forgot about this dream. However, if, we never know the future, but if Klaipeda become the same level as Vilnius, I'm okay to move there because finally I will move next to the sea. But for
Yeah.
the moment, yeah, okay. To be fair with you, in Lithuania, only Vilnius and Kaunas, which I can accept living in them. Why? Because there is a lot of entertainment, and
Hmm.
also there is a huge diversity when it comes to restaurants. But Klaipeda, unfortunately, lack that. And also,
Still,
even
yes.
yes, even for example, for studies, I'm not considering to study at least right now. But even for example, for studies, when you look to, for example, universities that are in Vilnius and universities that are in Kaunas, even for English language, you have a lot of diversity. Let alone for Lithuanian language, you have a huge diversity. But in Klaipeda, unfortunately, there is not such much diversity. Like I wish if, and actually that's what I believe. Like government should improve Klaipeda, Šiauliai, and Panevėžys. Like that, not everyone will come to Vilnius because they have to. Like that, they will have other choices. For example, people of Gargždai, Plungei, no, sorry, not Plungei, Palanga, Kretinga could move to Klaipeda rather than coming to Vilnius. But many of them choose
Hmm.
Vilnius because, all opportunities exist only there. And actually, for my plans, yeah, I have two right now. I'm thinking to open a YouTube channel that promote Lithuania because I'm following some YouTubers who are for example speaking about Czech Republic, speaking about Iceland and so on, and they give insight about the culture, politics, how to say, life. I mean, you can understand how it
Hmm.
is. So those that I follow really give me an idea. It's like I've been living there. So I would like to do the same concept for Lithuania because unfortunately it's lacking here.
That's
That's
true.
my first project, and the second one, I would like to go deeper into cinematography. I would like, I'm actually call myself part-time actor. So right now I'm just an extra, but recently I got one role, one speaking role. So I hope it will be the beginning. So that's what I would like to do in the future.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I really like your idea about creating a YouTube channel
Hmm.
because for me, as a Lithuanian, watching Kotaros channel
Hmm.
and like him traveling around Lithuania and speaking Lithuanian, it's incredibly entertaining because he's from a very different background than
Hmm.
Lithuania, and in some regards, he has seen more of Lithuania than I have. So So it would be the same with you, I believe. Like everyone would be surprised that a person from Morocco actually understands certain things about the country better than like the local people, which is actually not that kind of a odd thing, because when you live in the same background for the entirety of your life, it's like you're a fish in water without knowing that the water is around you.
Hmm.
But if you take the fish and you put it up a tree, like, oh, what's happening? you know
Exactly.
so so a person coming from another background can actually see things more clearly, certain things, just like when you're listening to people arguing in a foreign language.
Hmm.
You have no idea what they're saying,
Hmm.
but you can hear the tone, you can see the body language, you can focus more on the body movements than on the words, the ideas, which are like, your brain interprets them without even giving much thought. But you actually then you have to observe and you have to really watch and see what's up. So I believe that would be a very interesting perspective that you would have given your university studies as well. So yeah, more luck. All the best to you,
Thank you. Yeah.
Zakaria. I hope everything will go well. And thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
in today. It was a
Thank
very
thank you
interesting
for
conversation.
inviting. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to see the our conversation, as well as if in the future we would like to discuss different topic. Feel free to contact me.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And if you will want to actually open up the YouTube channel, we can do more collaborations in the future and talk about
Sure.
different kind of things regarding Lithuania, Morocco, languages, many kind of different kind of aspects. So
No problem.
uh, I believe, as they would say, Iki greito.
Iki. Ačiū, Paulius.
Until then.
Yeah.